but a really familiar figure on the Henley course. And there we go. Both quads up. It was an easy squeeze from both quads. They were quite gentle with the boat, weren't they, on that first stroke, which I like.
Well, it sets it up for the whole 2,112 metres, doesn't it? Because if you get that first stroke wrong, we've seen it through the regatta week, you can end up having a really dicey run down the island for steering, for setting up your rhythm, your rating. And as I say, they both have raced each other before, so they know it's going to be a close race. And just taking that patience and time to collect themselves, just focus on stroke one. And look at this. I knew we were expecting a good race, but Edinburgh heading it out here at the end of the island, looking to flip the results from the Met, where it was Marlow that got the better of them.
I just wonder, we've got that kind of cross headwind. It's blowing like from where the camera is towards the cruise. It used to be called, in the late 19th century, a bushes wind, because the course started the other side of the island. There were loads of bushes, and the bushes protected the crew on the Buck station, i.e. the Edinburgh crew, from the wind. I think it's much more open now, but Edinburgh with that fast start, Marlow going toe-to-toe with them. The lad at stroke in the Edinburgh crew, Robert Humphreys, the 22-year-old, formerly from Shiplake College, he's absolutely passionate about photography. There's some great shots on the internet you can see of the pictures that he's taken. And what a fantastic programme at Edinburgh University. Dale Flockhart is coaching this.
Dale, who himself will have rowed, I think, in the Prince of Wales for Edinburgh a few years ago. Himself an Edinburgh graduate, now back coaching at the university. His parents involved in rowing at St Andrew Boat Club in the city of Edinburgh as well. So the Flockharts all in and amongst it on the rowing scene. But here you go, Marlow now accelerating, turning the tables here and pushing out to a wonderful lead.
I mean, they look quite tight and together, that Edinburgh crew. I guess I'd be looking for I guess it's the headwind, maybe a little more looseness, a little more rangy feel just as they come out to take the front. But, you know, it's a very fast-moving boat, the quad, and you've got to move with it. So that's what these guys from Edinburgh are doing. I just think the Marlow crew have got an extra little looseness in their shoulders, an extra little float out forward.
I was saying, I think the Edinburgh crew looks a little bit bouncy. You can see it both the sort of finish and the catch. They're sort of a tiny little bit bouncy, aren't they, in getting in and out of the water. But looking very together. You know, their blade work's beautiful. But here you go, Marlow closest to us. And in the Marlow crew, that's James Dolman in the bow seat, closest to us on the left. And in front of him, Max Bird, the 21-year-old. Harry Renette, we saw his sister earlier racing in the Bridge Challenge Plate. And then in the stroke seat, Alfred Heath, the 26-year-old, with 7 Henleys underneath his belt.
Yeah, and he won the Y-Folds, I think, was it last year, Alfie Heath, with the bowman James Dolman. So they've been down the track. And you kind of would say that type of experience. The Y-Fold's a lower standard event than this one. The Prince of Wales is intermediate, so those lads, Dolman and Heath, have moved up with Bird and Rooney. Coached by Pete Chambers, who knows a thing or two about sculling. He's such an influence around the club at Marlow, made an enormous impact, not just in the junior squads, the women's squads, and obviously here with the men's senior squads.
Well, this quartet from Marlow know a thing or two about sculling themselves, actually. So not only their coach Pete Chambers, but you've got a few Henley winners on board. Max, who, other than Alfie and James, Max Bird in the 2-seat, winner of the Forley back in 2022. So the under-19, the junior sculling event, now stepping up to this intermediate sculling event, and joined by the silver medalist from the Junior Worlds back in 2023, Harry Rooney, just 20 years of age, so plenty of under-23s ahead of him as well.
Yeah, was that at Varese, that championships?
Good chat. I didn't go.
I didn't go either.
I've never been to Varese.
Something said, yeah, it's a nice place, you ought to go. Marlow looked really good to me. They've loosened out in the shoulders, or they were loose in that headwind, and that's a great technical skill, credit to their coach. Just getting them to keep loose, these are, you know, tricky conditions. I think you can see if you're joining us on Henley this Friday, wherever you are watching this throughout the world, welcome. We love having your company. I'm Martin Cross, with me Camilla Hadland, and it's Marlow Rowing Club in the Prince of Wales, leading the 4 men from Edinburgh University. After that fast Edinburgh start, Marlow have dominated so far.
Well, Edinburgh, a good season so far. Perhaps not their best ever in the sort of university sculling scene. They were 8th at Bucks Head, the British University Championships sort of head race time trial format, and they were 4th in the championship quad at the regatta format of the British University Championships. So off the podium, so they've won that event in years gone by.
I did read in one of the previews, thanks to Junior Rowing News, they seem to be on a qualification list, but then the stewards kind of seemed to take them off the qualification list. Not sure what was going on there.
I think it was the other way round. I think they weren't pre-qualified, and then given their results, the stewards went, "Oh, actually, do you know what?
Fair enough.
You've had a pretty good run, so we should have."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But yeah, and the same for Marlow, I believe, actually. So both of these crews now coming up against each other. Marlow, wow, really I thought this was going to be a much closer race, I must admit. So kudos to Marlow.
I know, it's funny how it goes. You sort of, the guys have a close race. You don't quite know. I don't understand in terms of the lanes at Marlow, at Marlow Regatta, which would be at Dorney. You never quite know what the crosswind might be doing there and having an influence on the results. And you need to get head-to-head on this beautifully fair and open course at Henley. No stream at all, so there's nothing in the stations. It's just about which crew can manage the conditions the best. And Edinburgh certainly kept that punchy rhythm the whole way down the course. Never faltered whatsoever.
Yeah, great.
It's the 18-year-old Ollie Plank that we're looking at his back.
And you said a great course that they've steered. I've noticed that it's Freddie Foxwell in the through seat that's steering himself. I think a Henley winner for Leander in the Fawley a few years ago. They had that great semi-final against the Windsor boys. That was that one race that was won by a few centimetres. So great to see him back racing in this intermediate level event. But there's Marlow across the line.
Marlow take that heat of the Prince of Wales Challenge Cup. Reminder, the ladies' challenge plate will be coming later. There in that heat, in the Prince of Wales, Marlow beat Edinburgh.